The stars stretched endlessly, black and cold, pierced only by distant flickers of light. Humanity's warship, the Dauntless, glided silently through the void. Its sleek hull reflected the faint glow of a nearby nebula, making it look fragile against the emptiness of space. Inside the command bridge, Captain Elias Mercer leaned over the console, his hand steady but his heart beating faster than he would admit. He had faced dangers before, but nothing like this. Ahead, intelligence had warned, was an alien fleet, the Arathi Armada, massive, countless, and merciless. The Arathi were legendary for their cruelty. Their ships were jagged, black like crystal, and their engines pulsed with a threatening hum. Across the galaxy, countless civilizations had fallen before them, crushed under overwhelming firepower, and now they were coming for humanity. Yet here was the Dauntless, alone, sent as a vanguard to meet them in the void. "Captain," Lieutenant Zara Chen said, her finger hovering over the comms panel. "We're being hailed. They want to speak with us." Mercer straightened. "Open the channel." The bridge flickered as a holographic image formed. The Arathi commander appeared, a towering figure with 6 glowing eyes and scales that shimmered like black steel. His voice was deep, metallic, filled with mockery. "Humanity sends one tiny ship to face our might," he sneered. "You are insignificant. Your species is weak. Prepare to be destroyed." A heavy silence fell across the Dauntless. The crew met each other's eyes. Fear was there, yes, but also determination. They were the best humanity had. They were trained, prepared, and willing to fight against impossible odds. Mercer's voice cut through the tension. Calm, unwavering. "Lieutenant, they think we are weak. Let's show them the truth." Outside the ship, the Arathi Armada moved like a living storm, thousands of ships forming jagged formations. Each bristled with weapons capable of obliterating the Dauntless in seconds. Their first attack came without warning. A volley of energy beams streaked across space, meant to intimidate. Sensors lit up with warnings, but the human shields held. The beams struck, sparks danced across the hull, and then nothing. The Dauntless was unharmed. Mercer's eyes narrowed. "They will learn that we are not so easily mocked," he whispered. "Not today. Not ever." In the crew quarters, families and friends of the crew watched the live feed on Earth. Children pressed their faces to the screens, eyes wide, hearts racing, believing in the courage of those they loved. Somewhere deep in the Dauntless, every crew member felt the weight of history on their shoulders. Humanity had always been underestimated, and now they had a chance to prove that courage, ingenuity, and resolve were stronger than raw numbers. Zara checked the tactical readouts again. "Sir, they are shifting formation. It looks like they want to surround us." Mercer's jaw tightened. "Then let them come. Humanity never surrenders." The silence of space pressed around the ship like a living thing. The first clash had not yet begun, but the mockery of the Arathi had already lit a fire in the crew's hearts. One human ship, small and solitary, faced an empire. But they carried more than weapons. They carried spirit, determination, and the unyielding belief that humanity would not bow. As the engines hummed and the weapons charged, the stars seemed to pause, holding their breath. Somewhere in the vastness of the galaxy, a storm was awakening, and it was not the Arathi who would command it. Captain Mercer took a deep breath, looking at his crew. "Today we remind the galaxy who we are," he said softly. "Today humanity fights." And for the first time, despite the fear and the odds, there was a spark of hope, bright enough to burn across the cold, dark void. The Dauntless floated silently for a moment, as if taking a deep breath before the storm. Then, without warning, the Arathi ships surged forward, their jagged silhouettes filling the viewport. Thousands of alien vessels moved in unison, forming a wall of death. Human sensors screamed warnings and alarms echoed through the corridors of the ship. Shields at maximum. "Weapons online!" Captain Mercer commanded, his voice steady despite the tension curling in his chest. Every crew member moved with practiced precision, their training holding them together against fear. The first blast of the Arathi energy cannons tore through space toward the Dauntless. Light scorched the void, a river of deadly power. Human shields flared, absorbing the strike, and sparks danced across the ship's hull. The crew gritted their teeth, but none faltered. Lieutenant Chen's fingers flew over the control panel. "Captain, their attack patterns are predictable. They're fast but rigid. We can exploit it." Mercer's eyes sharpened. "Do it. Show them what humanity is capable of." The Dauntless pivoted gracefully, small but incredibly agile. Its engines burned bright as it darted through the gaps in the Arathi formation, launching precision torpedoes at the alien ships. The explosions lit the darkness like fireworks, one alien vessel after another collapsing into shards of black metal. Across the bridge, the crew couldn't help but cheer quietly. They had struck first, and the Arathi were unprepared for such speed and cunning. The Arathi commander's voice boomed across the comms.
How? This is impossible!
One human ship. Destroying our fleet. Rage and disbelief mixed in the alien's tone. You will die, humans. Every one of you. Mercer did not reply. Words were useless now. Action spoke louder. The Dauntless twisted and turned, a single blade cutting through an endless ocean of darkness. Every strike was precise, calculated. Humanity was small, but it was clever. The aliens had underestimated them, and that mistake would cost dearly. In the crew quarters, the families on Earth watched in awe and fear. Children clutched their parents' hands as the live feed showed alien ships exploding in space. Mothers and fathers whispered prayers, hoping their loved ones were safe. But a quiet pride also grew. These humans, alone and unyielding, were fighting with unmatched courage. On the bridge, Chen called out, "Captain, their formation is breaking." "They're retreating." Mercer's eyes narrowed. He knew better than to celebrate too soon. The Arathi were not a simple enemy, they were relentless. "No," he said firmly. "They're testing us. They will come back stronger. Prepare for their next wave. Full alert!" But for a moment, the crew allowed themselves a small victory. Humanity had faced the impossible and survived. They had stood against an empire that had crushed countless civilizations and had shown that courage and intelligence could turn the tide. Outside, the stars were still dark, but now they shone with a new light, the light of human defiance. The Dauntless moved like a phantom, small but unstoppable, cutting through the massive alien fleet. Each maneuver, each strike sent a message. Humanity was not weak. Humanity was not to be mocked. Mercer stood at the center of the bridge, his hands gripping the console. He felt the pride and fear of every soul aboard, and he let it strengthen him. This was more than a battle. It was a statement. The galaxy had seen humans underestimated before, but they would not be again. The Arathi ships regrouped in the distance, their black hulls glinting ominously. They were massive, powerful, and still threatening. Yet for the first time there was hesitation in their movements. They had encountered something they had not anticipated. A human ship that fought like an unstoppable storm, small but deadly, fearless against impossible odds. Mercer whispered under his breath, "This is just the beginning. Humanity fights, and we will not fall." The Dauntless surged forward again, its engines burning bright against the darkness. The first wave had been met, but the war had only just begun. In the cold, endless void, a spark of human resilience had ignited, and it would not be extinguished. The Dauntless moved like a shadow through the wreckage of shattered Arathi ships. Explosions still glimmered in the distance, black metal tearing apart in a deadly rain. For a moment it seemed the humans had gained the upper hand, but Captain Mercer knew better. The Arathi were patient predators. Their first retreat was only a test, a way to measure human strength. On the bridge, the crew tensed as sensors detected new movements. "Sir," Lieutenant Chen called, her voice tight, "they're returning. And they've brought reinforcements. More ships than before. We're outnumbered 10-1. Mercer's jaw tightened. "Numbers mean nothing if we fight smart. Keep the shields at maximum. Target their formations, exploit their rigidity." Outside, the Arathi Armada advanced like a black tide, their ships shining like jagged teeth in the void. This time they did not fire immediately. Instead, they encircled the Dauntless, moving in perfect synchronization. The alien commander's voice boomed over comms, echoing with fury. "You are insolent, human. Your arrogance will end in fire. Your ship will be dust." Mercer's lips pressed into a thin line. He felt the weight of every life aboard, the crew, their families watching from Earth, and the pride of humanity itself. "We will not be dust," he said softly. "We will fight, and we will endure." The first strike of the second wave was different. Arathi weapons were heavier, faster, more precise. Energy beams tore through space, striking near the Dauntless. The ship shuddered as shields absorbed the impact, warning lights flashing across every console. Crew members gritted their teeth as the hull groaned under the pressure. Zara Chen's hands moved swiftly over the controls. We need to create a diversion, she suggested. If we can break one of their flanks, we might force chaos in their formation. Mercer nodded. Do it, take the maneuver. All weapons ready to fire on. I mark. The Dauntless dove into the heart of the approaching fleet, its engines screaming as it twisted between the alien ships. The human ship was small and fragile-looking, but its agility made it deadly. Torpedoes and precision lasers found their marks, detonating near the largest Irathi vessels. Explosions erupted, tearing cracks across alien hulls. For a brief moment, victory seemed within reach. But the Irathi were relentless. Their ships adapted, adjusting their patterns with terrifying speed. Energy beams rained down on the Dauntless, each hit testing the limits of human engineering. Sparks flew inside the ship, alarms screamed, and the bridge shook violently. Crew members clung to consoles, every second a battle against panic. Captain, Chen shouted. They're targeting the engines. If they hit, we're dead. Mercer took a deep breath. Fear roared inside him, but he could not show it. Not now. Hold steady, he barked. Divert power to shields. We survive this crew or humanity dies here. The Dauntless twisted sharply, dodging a massive beam that would have sliced the ship in half. Another beam hit and the hull groaned, sending sparks into the bridge. Crew members gritted their teeth, their faces pale but determined. They had trained for this. They had dreamed of courage. Now it was all that stood between life and annihilation. Outside, the stars were a chaos of fire and metal. The Dauntless darted like a phantom, weaving through the Irathi's relentless assault. Each human strike destroyed more alien ships, but the overwhelming numbers pressed closer. Every explosion brought a mixture of fear, hope, and determination aboard the ship. Humanity was small, but it was clever, fast, and unyielding. Mercer's eyes scanned the chaos. Deep inside, he felt it. The fire that had driven humanity across worlds. The spirit that had survived against impossible odds. We will not fall, he whispered to himself. Not here. Not ever. The Irathi commander's voice roared again, trembling with rage and disbelief. Impossible. One ship cannot stand against us. And for the first time in the endless black, the Dauntless crew realized something powerful. Maybe humanity could. The void of space burned with the light of destruction. Explosions rippled across the battlefield as the Dauntless weaved through the Irathi Armada, small yet deadly. The alien fleet had regrouped, their massive ships forming a tight wall of firepower determined to crush the lone human vessel. The bridge trembled with each strike, but the crew remained focused, their eyes fixed on the battle that could decide the fate of humanity. Captain, Lieutenant Chen shouted, her voice tense but steady. We're running low on torpedoes. If we can't break their formation, they'll trap us. Mercer's jaw tightened. Then we'll have to do more than fight. We'll have to outthink them. Humanity doesn't just survive with weapons, we survive with brains. Outside, the Irathi tightened their formation. They fired in waves, energy beams slicing through the darkness like deadly lightning. The Dauntless shuddered under the onslaught, shields flaring as human engineers rerouted power at lightning speed. Sparks flew across consoles and alarms screamed relentlessly. Each crew member gritted their teeth, hearts pounding, yet none faltered. Mercer leaned over the tactical display, studying the alien patterns. He noticed a weakness: their formation was rigid. They moved like a single organism, but a single flaw in coordination could ripple chaos through their fleet. He gestured to Chen. We hit their left flank at full speed. Draw them into a trap. Chen nodded, her hands flying over the controls. The Dauntless twisted sharply, engines roaring as it raced toward the Irathi's weak point. Human torpedoes launched, not at the front of the alien line, but at the edges where chaos could spread. The explosions tore through the formation, hitting ships from multiple angles. The Irathi commander's 6 eyes widened in shock. How, one ship, causing this much damage? His voice trembled with rage. Do not underestimate humans. On the bridge, Mercer allowed himself a fleeting smile. The enemy had mocked humanity's size, their speed, their strength. But humans were adaptable, clever, and relentless. They could turn weakness into strength, small numbers into advantage. Every crew member aboard the Dauntless felt the power of that truth. Captain, they're breaking formation, Chen shouted, excitement creeping into her voice. Chaos is spreading across their fleet. Mercer gritted his teeth. Good, now press the attack. Precision strikes hit their command ships. We finish this wave. Torpedoes and energy blasts streaked through space, finding their targets. Irathi ships erupted in massive fireballs, their crystal black hulls shattering. Explosions lit up the void, each one a testament to human determination. The alien fleet faltered, their previously confident maneuvers now disorganized and frantic. In the crew quarters, families on Earth watched with wide eyes, hearts caught between fear and pride. Children whispered, "Go, humans, go." Adults held hands, praying silently. Every explosion, every human success was a victory not just in war but in hope. Humanity had been mocked and belittled for centuries by alien empires. Now they watched as their champions proved the impossible was possible. On the bridge, Mercer's face was set, calm but fierce. They thought we were small, weak, and foolish. They were wrong. Humanity fights with heart, with mind, and with courage, and we will never stop. As the Dauntless darted through the chaos, striking with precision and intelligence, the Arathi ships began retreating in disorder. Their coordinated wall of power was gone, replaced by panic and confusion. Mercer allowed himself a deep breath. The battle had turned. Humanity's lone warship had not only survived, it had shattered the fearsome Arathi formation. Yet, even as victory flickered within reach, Mercer knew the war was far from over. The Arathi were relentless, patient, and cunning. They would return stronger and more furious than ever. But for this moment in the endless black of space, one truth shone brighter than any star. Humanity was not to be mocked. Humanity could fight, endure, and triumph against any odds. "Prepare for the next wave," Mercer ordered, his voice steady. "But remember this, crew. We have already shown the galaxy what it means to underestimate humans, and they will never forget." Outside, the Dauntless glided forward, a small but unstoppable storm in a universe that had once doubted them. And deep in the void, the spark of human courage burned brighter than ever, lighting a path through darkness that no alien fleet could extinguish. The Dauntless glided through the void, its engines leaving trails of pale blue light, painting the darkness with humanity's defiance. The alien fleet had broken formation, but Captain Mercer knew better than to believe the Arathi were defeated. They were patient hunters, and desperation often made them deadlier. "Captain," Lieutenant Chen called from her station, "we're detecting an unusual surge. Multiple ships are converging on our position. It looks coordinated, almost like a final strike." Mercer's eyes narrowed. "They're going all in. Prepare the crew." This is what they hoped to avoid, the last gamble. Outside, the Arathi vessels moved with terrifying speed, forming a deadly crescent. Each ship bristled with energy weapons, engines glowing with a furious light. The humans aboard the Dauntless felt the tension ripple through the ship. Sparks flashed across the bridge as warning lights screamed. The very hull seemed to shiver under the coming storm. "Shields at maximum. Weapons ready," Mercer commanded, his voice steady but firm. Every crew member tightened their grip on the controls, their hearts hammering with fear and determination. This was no longer just survival, it was a statement. Humanity would not be mocked, not today, not ever. The Arathi struck first. Energy beams ripped through space, targeting the Dauntless from multiple directions. The shields flared, absorbing the brunt, but the impact sent tremors across the bridge. Crew members gritted their teeth as consoles sparked and alarms blared. For a moment, fear threatened to rise, but Mercer held it back with sheer will. "Divert all auxiliary power to shields," he barked. "We survived this, crew. Humanity survives." Lieutenant Chen's fingers flew over the controls, plotting evasive maneuvers through the deadly torrent. The Dauntless twisted and darted like a blade in space, dodging beams that could have torn the ship apart. Precision torpedoes fired at critical points in the Arathi formation, detonating with explosions that lit the void. One by one, alien ships began to falter, unable to adapt to the speed and cunning of the human vessel. The Arathi commander's voice echoed across comms, a mixture of fury and disbelief. How can one ship resist all of this?" Mercer's jaw tightened. "One ship can do anything if it carries the heart of 100,000. He glanced at his crew, sweat on their brows, eyes bright with determination. "Keep striking. Every shot counts." The battle raged on. The Dauntless twisted through the storm, each move precise, each strike devastating. Explosions scattered across the Arathi fleet, tearing through black crystal hulls, turning their final gamble into chaos. Sparks and debris illuminated the faces of the human crew, their expressions fierce and resolute. They were small, but they were unstoppable. On Earth, families watched the live feed in awe and fear. Children held their parents' hands, whispering prayers and cheers. Adults whispered words of pride and hope. Humanity had been mocked, ridiculed, dismissed by countless empires. But here was proof of something greater: courage, spirit, and the unyielding drive to survive against impossible odds. The Dauntless darted through the center of the crescent, striking the largest command vessels with precision torpedoes. Explosions tore through the fleet, breaking the Arathi crescent into fragments. Confusion and panic spread among the alien ranks. Their weapons faltered, coordination collapsed, and the tide of battle shifted irrevocably. Mercer allowed himself a moment of grim satisfaction. They thought they could end us with fear and numbers. They were wrong. Humanity fights and humanity endures. Even as the Arathi attempted to regroup, the Dauntless surged forward again, a lone storm of destruction. The alien fleet, massive and proud, now faltered, broken not by sheer power but by skill, courage, and determination. Humanity's defiance shone brighter than any weapon, stronger than any fleet. The crew knew the battle was far from over. Yet for this moment, amid sparks, alarms, and the endless void, one truth resonated through every soul aboard the Dauntless. No matter the odds, humanity would never bow, never falter, and never be mocked again. "Prepare for pursuit," Mercer ordered, voice steady. "They will not give up easily, but neither will we." Humanity stands. The Dauntless surged forward, leaving trails of light across the darkness. The spark of human courage, unyielding and brilliant, now burned like a beacon in the void. And the Arathi, for the first time, realized they were facing a force they had never expected: humanity. The Dauntless surged through the void, engines blazing, its hull glowing with reflected starlight. The Arathi fleet, once confident and proud, now wavered like a storm-tossed ocean. Captain Mercer's eyes scanned the tactical display, sharp and calculating. The aliens were furious, regrouping desperately, but their formations were fractured. Humanity had survived wave after wave, and now, the moment to strike back decisively had arrived. "Captain," Lieutenant Chen said, her voice tight with focus, "we can hit their command cluster if we split our trajectory. One precise strike and their coordination will collapse entirely." Mercer nodded, determination hardening his features. "Do it. Humanity doesn't wait for miracles. We create them." Outside, the alien command ships glimmered like black jewels against the endless stars. Their six-eyed commander glared, fury burning in his metallic voice. You cannot defeat us. One ship against our might." Mercer's lips pressed into a thin line. "We are not one ship," he whispered to himself. "We are humanity." The Dauntless twisted and spiraled through the alien fleet with unmatched agility. Energy beams tore past, missing by inches, while torpedoes streaked outward, finding the smallest cracks in Arathi armor. Explosions tore through command vessels, shattering their crystal hulls in blinding fire. One by one, the Arathi's lines collapsed under precision strikes and unrelenting human resolve. On the bridge, the crew's exhaustion clashed with exhilaration. Every member felt the surge of hope, the taste of victory, and the pride of proving themselves against a civilization that had mocked humanity for centuries. Sweat and grime streaked their faces, but their eyes shone with determination. "Captain," Chen called, almost breathless, "their fleet is faltering. They're retreating." Mercer allowed himself a slow, controlled exhale. "Not yet," he said firmly. "We press the advantage. Humanity finishes what it starts." The Arathi commander's voice trembled, anger and disbelief mingling. "Impossible. One human ship, destroying fleets. No species should endure this." Mercer's eyes met the holographic display of the alien fleet. "Endure? Humanity endures everything. We fight, we survive, we rise." With a roar of engines, the Dauntless plunged into the broken ranks of the Arathi Armada. Torpedoes and precision lasers tore through command ships, fracturing the alien network of control. Confusion spread like wildfire. Arathi ships collided, their formations unraveling completely. The proud alien fleet, which had once mocked humanity, now struggled to escape annihilation. Back on Earth, people watched in disbelief and awe. Children cheered, clinging to their parents. Adults whispered words of pride and hope. Centuries of underestimation, ridicule, and fear had been swept away by a single ship and its crew. Humanity had shown that courage, intelligence, and determination could defy even the most overwhelming odds. Inside the Dauntless, Mercer's hands gripped the console, knuckles white, as he gave final orders. "All weapons, focus on the remaining command vessels. Precision strikes make them regret ever mocking humanity. The explosions lit the void like a supernova. The Irathi ships faltered, their engines failing, their coordination lost. The alien commander's voice, once full of pride, now trembled with desperation. "This cannot be. How?" Mercer's eyes softened, a small smile tugging at his lips. "You mocked humanity, and now you see why we survive. Not with arrogance, not with sheer numbers, but with heart." The Dauntless glided through the wreckage of the shattered fleet, each move deliberate, each strike precise. The tide had turned completely. The humans were no longer defending, they were victorious. Humanity's ingenuity, bravery, and unyielding spirit had shattered an empire's arrogance. As the stars glimmered across the wreckage, the crew felt a quiet, powerful emotion. The pride of being human, the knowledge that they had faced impossible odds and emerged stronger. Mercer looked at his crew, voices hushed in awe and relief. "We did it," he said softly. "We reminded the galaxy. Humanity is not to be mocked. We fight, we endure, and we rise." Outside, the void was silent except for the flickering remnants of the Irathi fleet. Humanity's lone warship had proven a force unmatched by arrogance, unmatched by fear, and in that silence, the spark of human courage shone brighter than any star, lighting the path for the rest of the galaxy. The void of space was alive with the echoes of battle. Twisted shards of alien ships drifted silently, glittering like black stars against the darkness. The Irathi Armada, once a towering empire of fear and arrogance, lay shattered, and at the heart of this devastation floated the Dauntless, humanity's lone warship, small but unbroken, glowing with quiet triumph. Captain Elias Mercer stood on the bridge, his hands resting lightly on the console. He felt exhaustion in every bone, yet a fire burned brighter than any fatigue. The crew had endured unimaginable odds, faced a relentless enemy, and emerged victorious. They had turned fear into courage, mockery into pride, and doubt into undeniable proof of human spirit. Lieutenant Chen's voice broke the silence, trembling with awe. "Sir, it's over. Their fleet, they've been annihilated. They're fleeing, crippled." Mercer's eyes swept over the remnants of the alien armada displayed on the tactical screen. He allowed himself a quiet exhale. "Not just fleeing," he said softly. "They've learned a lesson they will never forget. Humanity cannot be mocked. Humanity cannot be broken." The bridge remained still for a moment, the crew sharing an unspoken bond, a shared triumph that went beyond words. Each explosion and energy strike of the battle had tested their courage, skill, and will. And now, as the remnants of the Irathi scattered into the void, relief and pride filled every corner of the ship. Outside, the stars seemed brighter, almost as if they were witnessing the victory of a single species against impossible odds. The Dauntless drifted through the wreckage of the once mighty Irathi Armada, every move deliberate, every maneuver a reminder of human resilience. The alien commander, prideful and arrogant for centuries, had underestimated one small human warship and had paid the ultimate price. Mercer turned to his crew, his voice strong and steady yet warm with emotion. "You have done more than survive," he said. "You have shown the galaxy what humanity truly is. We are clever. We are strong. We are unstoppable when we stand together. Today we are remembered not as the weak, the underestimated, the mocked, but as humans who refuse to bow." The crew exchanged glances, faces smeared with sweat and grime, hearts racing with adrenaline and pride. They had faced a force meant to annihilate them, yet they had turned it into proof of human ingenuity and courage. Every member aboard the Dauntless had played a part in the legend that would echo across the stars. "Captain," Chen said softly, "they'll regroup. Somewhere. But after this, they'll think twice before challenging us again." Mercer nodded. "Let them come. Humanity is ready. We fight not just with weapons, but with spirit, and spirit cannot be defeated." In the quiet of the aftermath, the Dauntless powered forward, engines humming steadily. The wreckage of alien ships floated silently in the darkness, a graveyard of arrogance and overconfidence. Humanity had faced a fleet that mocked their strength and laughed at their size, and now the galaxy would never doubt them again. Somewhere far away, children on Earth stared at live feeds, wide-eyed. Parents whispered stories of bravery and hope. For the first time, humanity saw itself through the lens of courage and victory, unbroken and defiant. One lone warship had proven the impossible was possible, and that truth would echo through history, through generations. through the stars themselves. Mercer gazed out at the endless void, his chest swelling with pride. "This is only the beginning," he whispered. "Humanity has survived. Humanity has triumphed. And humanity will never be mocked again." The Dauntless sailed onward, a beacon in the darkness. One ship, one crew, one species had rewritten the rules of the galaxy. And in that silence, in that endless, glittering expanse of stars, humanity's courage shone brighter than ever, a light that no darkness could ever extinguish. The Irathi Armada was gone,